get it right. I do want to start, though, Mr. Potter, with we just had Indo-PACOM in front of us, General Paparo, and we spoke a little bit about data and AI and making sure we have the right information, the facts, and then to help us get through some of the critical maintenance, backlog issues, parts and pieces issues. So I want to just focus in 2025, the DoD's Inspector General's analysis of spare parts for Navy ships found that the parts inventory accuracy was between 83% and 95%, which is below the minimum inventory accuracy of 98%. So I don't think it's like horseshoes and hand grenades. I think we got to get it right, that are needed for ship readiness. This example highlights the IT and data integrity challenges, I think, that are a huge part of ship maintenance as a challenge here. When we talk about leveraging AI, that's one thing, but if we don't have the raw data correct, then we're not going to actually be able to solve these things in real time, and we're going to have ships sitting in dry docks much longer than they absolutely should because we just didn't get the problem right from the beginning. So can you talk to me about the steps that are being taken to fix the outdated systems and ensure more reliable data goes in so we can plan better before a ship even gets to dock and know exactly what's broken and have those pieces, some of which take 6 months, 18 months to order if those parts even exist, if the manufacturers are even in business anymore because we've let this erode so badly. Can you talk to me about what we are doing to fix that essential piece of this puzzle?
Congresswoman, yes, it's absolutely imperative that the spare parts in our inventory management that goes with that are on time and ordered with the lead time necessary to support these maintenance availabilities. And it is actually a key component of the Navy's audit readiness and the inventory of materiel. And we're making huge strides there. And I know I can take for the record kind of our audit spare part initiative and using data to ensure we have the fidelity on what our inventory is and in our stock systems.
So we're at between 83 and 95% for 2025. Choose your own adventure. This time next year when you're in front of this joint committee, where would you like to be with that number?
Yeah, so 95% or higher, right? We need to get better, no doubt about it. Okay. I think we've got the tools and we're getting better with our tools at that, recognizing the importance of the digital tools as well as the inventory that's kind of real-time raw data that we're tapped into. Beyond that, we're using procurement funding, which is 3-year funding to pay for maintenance availabilities more and more. And that was a pilot program Congress gave us probably 5 to 10 years ago that we've continued to expand, recognizing 1-year O&M money is often not a long enough period of time to get the parts early enough to support availabilities.
Especially if they're not made anymore.
Correct, and we're moving up the planning time to more like 4 or 5 months, if not longer, before the availability starts to lock in the package to be able to order the parts sooner. So
I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
I do have to move on. Thank you, though, for that, and I look forward to working with you. Admiral Campbell, you mentioned Coast Guard Yard Baltimore, which is actually in my district, and I had the opportunity to visit and saw the critical need for that first investment tranche of money. We're talking about facilities that were built for World War II and have not gotten a whole lot of love since then. So I appreciate your focus there. And I do want to, again, congratulate you on the partnership with Finland and Canada and really urge you to get that co-production shoreside, stateside as quickly as possible. Can you just give me a brief update on the plans to actually spend down that money at Coast Guard Yard Baltimore? When can we expect, if you have a timeline on the dry dock, or when are we going to get shovels in the ground there?
Thank you, Congresswoman. We appreciate the question, but more importantly, appreciate the support of our Coast Guard Yard. As I mentioned in my opening statement, the Coast Guard Yard is a critical part of the public maritime industrial base. It's one of the public yards, and it does an enormous amount of work to keep all of our ships underway and doing the critical missions that we need to do. So we also appreciate the financial support that we've received, and we do have plans underway to acquire an actual dry dock that does have the capacity to lift our OPCs and our national security cutters, which we don't have that capacity right now with the existing lift. We also have plans that we're working with the Army Corps of Engineers to conduct dredging so that those ships can actually get into that area, as well as critical infrastructure upgrades in that whole facility. As you saw, it is dated. There is a lot of work that needs to be done there, but we are getting started on that right away and I can get back to you on specific details on when we plan.
Thank you. Please keep us posted. I
Absolutely.
yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank the gentlewoman. I now recognize Mr. Moreland from Guam.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to our witnesses today. Rear Admiral Campbell, as we evaluate the Coast Guard's shipbuilding strategy, do you foresee this capacity supporting additional FRCs becoming available for home porting in Guam?
Congressman, absolutely. The fast response cutter has been a huge success story, and it's an enormous capability enhancement for our service. To date, we have already delivered 62 of the 77 that are funded on our program right now, and 2 more are programmed to be included in the FY26 budget if and when that gets approved. And so some of those ships are definitely going to be, we're looking to push them out into the Guam operational area, sir.
If you can just briefly say the importance of that area, what it is to Indo-PACOM, and why the Coast Guard needs it, please.
Yes, sir. We recognize the importance of that entire theater, and we've been taking efforts to move more ships and more capacity out there. We understand the importance of having presence and to continue to build our relationships with our partner nations out there, where the Coast Guard plays a key role, as well as working with as a member of the Joint Force with the U.S. Navy and our Indo-PACOM partners.
Thank you. Godspeed, sir. Administrator Kamel, so with today's focus on the shipbuilding industry base, that's important, but equally important role is MURAD and DOD that they play on Guam for Guam's port, our only port. And the port of Guam is the only place for commercial ships to dock, playing a vital role for civilian and military flow of goods, food, and supplies. But it's at a crossroad. The port's cranes are aging and nearing the end of its lifespan. Now, for years, we've advocated for federal funding to be used to purchase new gantry cranes for the port, which would support both military and civilian community. Can you please tell us how MURAD is working to address the issue of the aging port infrastructure in Guam and in the region, sir?
Thank you, sir. As you know, MARAD has the PIDP program, and that is the principal mechanism we use for that. And so that's how we deal with it.
So the Port Authority has initiated that process. Do you see the importance, or will that be funding available? Are we looking at this happening, and how soon?
Well, the PIDP process, no question, happens. We have grants that might, were they released today? Yeah. Well, in fact,